Today I'm going to teach you how to make a beautiful, pretty mask from an old t-shirt and some napkins. Come join me and I'll show you how to do it. Alright, so the first thing we need to do is cut the fabric for our mask. And as I mentioned before, I used some vintage napkins, and also this is actually a beautiful old linen shirt that doesn't fit me anymore, and it's a really nice breathable linen, and I prefer linen. Super soft, washes well. Also, all of these old napkins, these vintage napkins that are linen, they're good both sides. They've been well loved, washed, super soft, and they also, when you go to wash your mask, is much more conducive to using that kind of a fabric. So when you're going to make a standard one or the lady size, you're going to make this 6 inches by 9 inches. If you're going to do gentleman's mask or a mask that you want to fit over the I-95, it's better to do 7 by 10. I'm also going to show you how to make a pretty mask. And oh, one thing, if you're going to cut this, you can definitely cut it with your scissors, but I love a rotary cutter. Mine's kind of dirty, just ignore it, but it's by Fiskars, is my favorite. And I'll show you how to do the cutting with the rotary cutter. I love the craft mat because it also gives you the measurements, so that if you were cutting 4 inches by 4, you know, like you wanted to match to make sure that you're getting a straight cut. All you do is this. This is also the fancy trim that I'm going to show. This is, if you can see, it's just from a old vintage tea towel, and you're just going to get your rotary cutter. And the cool thing about a rotary cutter is that you can do several layers. You just have to sometimes press hard. Oh, do I have the guard on? Yeah. Make sure you take the guard off. I was just trying to cut with plastic. That doesn't work. So sometimes you just need to go a little bit harder. Sorry. I just need to press hard in a couple spots. It comes right off, and it's great. Like if you wanted to make a lot of masks, like when I did these, I did several layers. I folded over the fabric, and I could cut several layers at a time. Then this kind of shows you the edging here for the making it pretty, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So you just want to pin your corners. And if you are kind of a messy slapper or sewer and you're kind of all over the place, you might want to add some more pins. Then you're going to want to get some elastic, and these are cut at 16 centimeters. A lot of people on their rulers or on their measuring tapes do have centimeters on the other side, so you can see 16 centimeters is the correct size for the ladies. And the man's mask, it's better to do it at about 18, or the mask that you're going to use to cover an I-95, to do that at about 18 centimeters. So you are going to need 2 of these. And if you want to do a nose piece in your mask, I'm going to show you how to do that too. And you're going to want a twist tie. If you can find white, that's great, especially if you're going to do lighter colors. This is going to be the front, which is dark, so if you had a green one or something, it wouldn't really matter. But if you're going to use light fabric, you don't want to be using a dark twist tie. So we're using the white, and you want to do the best that you can to get this as super straight as possible. Now we're going to take this and we're going to move over to the sewing machine. Like a regular straight stitch. I like to go on the long side about 1/3 from either end. Doesn't really matter where you start, and you just want to make sure. I like to run it on the side of the foot right there. It's easy for me to match up as I'm sewing. So you're just going to want to go forward. You want to go back stitch to lock in your stitches. Just go forward like this. Then this is when I take the pins out. So my husband will tell you, be mindful of the pins. We don't want them on the floor. Dogs, cats, children, you know, we got to be careful. And you're just going to take the elastic, and you are going to tuck it inside like this. And also, one thing I didn't mention, but if your fabric has a right side, you want right sides together. So the side that you want out, you want it facing on the inside. So right sides together. So you're just going to sew all the way to the edge, go right almost to the edge, and you want to go back. And then just keep the needle in, pivot, and we're going to turn. This is when I like to take this pin out, so we're just going to pull that out, and we're going to make sure that the elastic is straight and flat and off to the side. So we're just going to line up our seams right here. We're just going to go down, and we're just going to go right to the other corner. this, and we're just going to now bring in that elastic that was attached to the other corner, and we're going to bring it in here, and you are going to have to kind of hold your finger down. And just remember, some people get nervous with the foot, like the needle is not by the foot. So once you get it down under the foot, you're okay. Go forward and go back. And then I like to leave my needle in to pivot. We're going to turn, we're going to straighten out our fabric. Again, this is where, you know, if you're not a neat sewer, you might want to have more pins in to make sure it stays straight. But more seasoned sewers are better at just keeping it straight and going speedy. And we're just going to go all the way down to the other corner like this. Then when we get to the other corner, we're going to take our other piece of elastic. We're going to do exactly what we did on the other side. We're going to tuck it in here, and we're going to have it like that. If this a little bit sticks out, it doesn't really matter. You just want to feel, I can feel with my finger that that's really the edge, so I'm just going to go like that. Any excess fabric, before we turn it inside outside, we can always just trim off so that there's no bulk on the inside of the mask. So now we're just going to take this again, do what we did a minute ago. We're just going to make sure. Now you may think I haven't gone to the edge, but I can see I have a little bit of the brown folded over. May not have cut it straight. It doesn't really matter. You just have to kind of wing it as you go. I can just tell, see that my white fabric is right here. And we're just going to go to the end. We're going to find that elastic underneath. And we're going to be mindful that we don't flip it or anything like that. Yeah, that's straight. We're going to bring it all the way into the corner. And we're going to go and take it and go like that. Go forward. We're going to go back. And then we are going to go to meet where we started, but we're going to leave about a 2-inch gap. We're just going to lock the stitches. We're going to stop. Now, as I mentioned before, if you find you have a lot of bulk, you can just take your scissors at this point in time and you can just trim off any bulk at the corners or anything like that. But for the sake of this video, we're just gonna, I'd also trim off all of my threads so that there's no, it's all nice and neat, but I'm just trying to make this go as fast as possible. And we're just going to turn it inside out, and this is where your iron now becomes your best friend. And again, I would have trimmed off all that. So at this point in time, we're going to do the folds and the pleats, and we're going to work with our twist tie. But as I mentioned, how you can make a pretty mask, you know how we started here and went all the way around? If you wanted to make a mask with that trim that I was talking to you about, you would just start here, go all the way up. So when you start, you want to encompass the elastic just on the inside like you did. You'd go here all the way around and go to here, and you'd stop. Then what you're going to do now is tuck in. You're going to tuck in and pin your lace, and then we're going to sew around. So when we do the next step that I'm going to show you on one of these, if you wanted the lace in, it would have the lace on the bottom, but this one we don't. So that's just, and I'll show you one that I've done that's like that. Now the one thing is, so you have this pocket, remember I just showed you here the open pocket. The pocket, I like to try to make sure that it's on the bottom. And now we're going to have pleats going down this way. Some people like to pin all the pleats going down, but that just adds more holes to your fabric, and I like to try to use as little holes as possible. You could use 3 pleats. I completed this one. This is the I-95 of the gentleman size, and it's 3 pleats, and it's a bit bigger. But if you wanted to use, this is the ladies, and it's only 2 pleats or 3 pleats. That's up to you. But just keep in mind, when you open it up, it's going to open up anyways, and when you wash it, the pleats are lost, but it's more just how tight you want it on the sides. So the next step you're going to do is you're going to take your twist tie that I told you about, getting it as tight as possible, and you're going to come up through the pocket, and you're going to tuck it up here. Like you can see on this one that I've finished, it's actually in here, and you're going to tuck it up into the seam. So I've already put one in here, and I put 2 pins up there so that I can hold it up. So now we're going to go over to the machine again. So my twist tie is up in there, and we're just going to go to wherever you like to start. I don't know why. I just like the top right hand corner. You're just going to start, go forward, go back, lock your stitches. Now there's a bit of bulk here, so sometimes you have to kind of help your sewing machine. It kind of makes that kind of noise, but you just kind of have to help it along. Stop, pivot, lift up your foot. We're going to turn. We're going to go down now. We want to make sure that this is where we have that pocket where we turned around. We want to make sure that we're closing that. So we're just going to sew her up. And we're just locking everything in. And we're just going to come to the edge. And sometimes I like to walk with my hand so that I make sure I have it in the right spot where I like it. We're going to put our pleats down. Lock it again. We'll put the foot down. Yes, I know my machine doesn't like. Now I don't go all the way quite right. As see how thick the seam is here. This is going to be a little bit wider because we have to enclose the nose piece or the. So I'm going to take my pins out. And I like to keep my fingers kind of here, making sure that I am not sewing on the metal of the twist tie. And we're just going to go around like this. And we're going to go right back to where we started from. Back lock your stitch. And then obviously you're going to neaten those up. But for the sake of the video, we're just going to move along. So now if you're a real Martha Stewart person and you need to have it equal on each sides, the twist tie is in the pocket, so you can kind of slide it back and forth. And then once you're happy with it, all you're going to, whoops, put your foot down, just do a lock stitch back, done. Oops. And I did that kind of off, so it's a bit of a mess, but you know what I mean. And then you're just going to go like that. Need to be on a little bit more. Forward, back, and that locks the twist tie in the spot. And that's it. And I'll show you how it looks when it's all done. So we're all set. We're going to test it out. You're just going to put it over, and then you open it up a bit. You've got your little nose thing, which is great for people who wear glasses. Otherwise, I find my glasses get all fogged up. And you can see that because I did tighter pleats, I don't really have like these bat wings that I don't like. And it's breathable. I'm not fogging up my glasses. It's very, very comfortable and washable. And you can do all different kinds. Here's the one that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I did it with pink. It was actually an old pink tablecloth and some napkins. And that's that lace that I showed you in the video. The one thing, especially if you have white, you want to not wear too much makeup because you will get lipstick and stuff on it. So if you wear a lot of makeup, you might want to use like black napkins. And you just go like this. This one I didn't put a nose one in, but this actually we do have these on our website and our Etsy site that I can link below. There is one other style that I will show you, and I will send the link below on how to make these. It's a different style. It's a little more involved. You need to be a little more of an experienced sewer, but they're very pretty. And thank you very much for joining me as I do this project with you, and I look forward to the next video. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you again.